I'm Richard Lothrop, and I will be your host for the next number of minutes while we have an interesting interview for you. Our guest tonight is Ralph Potts, the general manager of the cable co-op system in Oberlin. And Ralph, we're delighted to have you in front of the camera than behind it.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it's nice to be on front instead of behind.
This is something that is unique for you.
Right.
Yes.
I only have to do that once a year at our annual meeting.
Yes. He was born and raised in Fairborn, Ohio, down near Dayton. Started out as a store manager for Radio Shack.
Yeah, right out of high school.
Right out of high school. And then he started in cable television as an installer in Xenia, Ohio, right?
That's correct.
And the majority of his training while he was there was with Continental. Was that television system?
Yes, it's the third largest cable operator in the country currently.
Mm-hmm. He stayed with Continental at various places in Ohio until the Oberlin job attracted him here. We'll get back to that in a few minutes. Finding himself more interested in project management, he says, than the technical aspects of television. Is that correct? That is still correct. Before I turn this exciting biographical page, let's go back to Xenia. You went through the Xenia tornado.
Oh, yeah. April 1974. Yes. It's a day I'll never forget as long as I live.
And were you in the studio when that happened?
I was in the office. I was an installer at the time, and had finished my day's work and had come back into the office and noticed that it was getting very, very dark outside, and so I picked up my cup of coffee and walked out the back, and I knew something was up when I saw a roof flying in the air. So
that does give you a reason to think something is amiss.
It was a heck of an experience. It really was. I mean, you're talking something that destroyed 70% of a town, and it took quite a while for us to put things back together again.
Now, was the cable system just devastated?
Oh, just totally. About the only thing that didn't happen was our tower site was not touched at all. But as far as our plant, well, we lost 80% of the plant, not to mention the homes that we served, and it just took a long time. It took about 2 years to rebuild.
Studio was the building you were in devastated?
Oh yes, yes. It was like this particular office. There was apartments above it, and it took the apartments above our office just wiped the slate clean.
Isn't that amazing?
But the whole block had to be torn down when it was all said.
Well, you were lucky. You came through it with just coffee in your hand,
right? Definitely.
Did you still drink the coffee?
Oh, I think that's why. I think that's why.
And I understand the noise of those things is just tremendous.
It's just unbelievable. It's indescribable. It really is. It was frightening, and it scared me, and I'm fearless. So.
And as I gather, it came about 6 o'clock in the evening or something.
No. Actually, it was about 20 after 4, quarter after 4 in the afternoon. That was a statement that when that happened, if it would have been an hour earlier that hit, there would have been a lot more people killed than what there was, because all the schools would have been in, and every school in that whole town was just leveled. So could have been a lot worse than what it actually was.
How many died after?
33, I think, and there was, and most of those came later on after an explosion in a command post for the National Guard. And that were the majority of the people were killed there. But for the damage that was done, it was unbelievable.
And they had no warning, as I recall.
No, absolutely no warning. No warning at all.
No sirens or anything of that sort.
Not at all. Now they do.
Yeah, they do now. Well, after that, Oberlin seems pretty placid, I assume.
Definitely. With that type of thing. We've lucked out over the years, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Let me ask you how you decided to get into television. Was it because of the Radio Shack job?
Well, I mean, as far as my high school electronics training, that's where I got my start, was at Radio Shack. But when they closed our store up and I was basically laid off, I was just basically looking for a job at the time. And cable was fairly young at that stage of the game, especially in communities in Ohio. The cable industry has been around since the mid-1940s in mountainous rural areas. And but in communities, especially around metro communities like Dayton or Cincinnati or Cleveland, it was fairly young. And the Xenia system was built in 1966, and I started there in 1973, so it was a fairly new system at the time. But nothing like we have today. It was just a straight 12-channel system. We had a 300-foot tower that we picked up the local Columbus channels and the Dayton channels and the Cincinnati channels, whatever we could pick up off air. There was no HBOs and satellite delivered services like there is today.
Tell me, for the edification probably of myself somewhat, but also people who may not be technically inclined who may be listening, what is the basic difference between regular television, if that's the right term, and cable?
Well, the difference in regular television, of course, is you put your antenna up and point it towards, in our area, towards Cleveland or Toledo, and they transmit it, at a frequency equivalent to channel 3 or 5 or whatever their channel assignment is. With cable, we have a frequency bandwidth. The same type of thing happens. The only difference is where we collect our signals from. The majority of our channel package is satellite delivered from various locations throughout the country, and we stick a satellite dish up there and pick up whatever we can pick up, and it's inserted on the cable itself. So it's basically the same type of design or technical aspects as regular off-air television. The only difference is the frequency bands that you're using and the number of channels that you're able to provide.
And I think many people notice it's clearer sometimes.
Yeah,
You don't have interference
yeah,
that you have.
that's true. That's true. I mean, we're susceptible. Any TV signal is susceptible to interference at some point in time. With satellite delivered services twice a year during the vernal and autumnal equinox, off-air signals are bombarded with interfering signals, and if you don't have a signal strength strong enough to overcome those on a local basis, then they can interfere with your TV.
Could you give us just a short history of the Open Cable Co-op?
Oberlin Cable began back in the early 80s. There was a group of citizens that wanted to have access to cable television services. The only thing is they wanted some local autonomy. They didn't want a Continental or a TCI or Time Warner to come in and dictate what services they were going to provide, what it was going to cost them, the whole 9 yards. Plus, most cable operators do not have an emphasis on local programming, like we're doing tonight. They are required by federal law to provide the local access channels, but that's their only requirement. They're not required to do any programming at all. So the same group of Oberlin citizens decided to create cable co-op, or locally owned and operated, and it seemed the best way to do that was on a cooperative basis. And so they got some seed money from the Nord Family Foundation to get it started, get the legal work done, do the investigation as far as and surveys on who would be interested in the services that they were provided. And in 1986, they presented a franchise ordinance or franchise proposal, I should say, to the city of Oberlin, and it was awarded in June of 1986. After that, it took that group about 2 years to arrange the funding to build the system. The original cost of the system was about $1.2 million. And they were able to do that through a loan through the now Premier Bank, but the Lorain County Bank, a low-interest loan from the Nord Family Foundation, and then they sold some subordinated notes or unsecured notes to local investors. And that's how the money was raised.
And we went on the air what year?
We began operations. We signed up our first customer and installed those in February of 1988.
So we're almost 10 years old.
Right, almost 10 years old.
There's got to be a celebration next year.
That's right. There was, from what I understand, there was a lot of people that thought we would never succeed, and this type of an organization would never succeed, and we weren't supposed to last more than 5 years. Well, we're going on 10, and we're doing fine.
That's going fine. at the time, was there a mission statement or a specific charge of any kind?
I think the specific charge of the organization, there was nothing set in concrete. There was no mission statement voted on by the board at that particular time. The citizens of Oberlin wanted cable service, and this was the best way to do it. The only commitment that they really made over what anybody else would have done would have been the emphasis on local programming.
And as I understand it, the Oberlin, at the time of Oberlin cable system starting, there was one other in Davis, California. Is that correct?
Yes,
that has since gone out.
Right. Yeah, there was one other cooperatively run organization that was in Davis, California. They went into receivership, but there was another one in California too, in Palo Alto, which also went into receivership and was bailed out by Century Communications. A couple of years ago, the cable cooperative there bought back their interest, Century's interest in the system, and operated it on their own, but since have sold it out totally. So as far, I'm sure there's other cable cooperatives in the country. I know of a community-owned system in Lowell, Ohio, but it's very, very small. It's smaller than Oberlin. And trying to get a hold of those people is I've been trying for over a year, and nobody wants to talk to me. So I'm not sure how they're run, or what type of organization it is, or how big it is.
So for the concept that we have, we've done pretty well vis-a-vis other places.
That's right. I mean, it's being community-owned has a lot of advantages. A lot of the things that we do and have done over the years are things that a lot of the big boys, like TCIs and Continental, should be doing, listening to the people that they're serving. Here it makes it a little easier, because when we want to add services or change services, we send out surveys, and it's a democratic process. Sure. We did that for the first time a year and a half ago, and we were kind of shocked at the response that we got, that we received back from our surveys.
Shocked in a positive way.
Yeah, shocked in a positive way. And a lot of the results from that survey we kind of knew, but we wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth, and we did. And we did exactly what the survey told us that they.
Were there many changes you instituted because of that?
Not too many changes. We had we added 3 additional brand new services. We changed out 2 that were premium services, Sports Channel and then the Disney Channel, and made them part of the basic package. We were the first system in the state of Ohio to make Disney a part of the basic package. Back in 1990, we were the first system in Lorain County to offer Sports Channel. So we've had some firsts in our area with our particular organization.
And all the subscribers, I guess, who are listening know that hopefully that they are part of the governing.
That's right.
Governance
that's right.
of this.
They have a voice in what's going on. They elect a board of directors. We have a 17-member board. We're short a couple, so if anybody out there would like to participate, excuse me, in the organization, that's the way to do it. The staff make recommendations to the board, and they vote on it. So that's the governing body is the board. As far as the day-to-day stuff, that is up to myself and my staff. But the people that we listen to are the people that we serve.
Which leads into the next question very nicely. Here you are, comfortably ensconced, I guess, at Continental, and you decided to come here. So there had to be something that attracted you here. What was it about this job that really
over the years,
you?
I've worked in a lot of different communities with Continental. My career in the cable industry has been in 2 places, and that's with Continental and here. I like small towns. Back in the early 80s, in the communities that I was responsible for, their service in a few of the other college buildings or administration buildings around campus. I know that there's service in King, which is fed from MUD. Those buildings have not been activated to the extent that they probably will in the future, only because those buildings have not gone through the wiring renovation program. And as they come online, then they'll be added in as well.
775-1635 if you wish to call talk to Mr. Potts. We'll carry on here. Do you have any kind of cooperative relationship? I don't mean in a co-op sense, but cooperation-wise, a relationship with the college on programming or helping them produce things, or do they do anything like that at this time?
Over the years, unfortunately, there hasn't been a whole lot come out of the college. There have been a number of things over the years that we have produced, whether it's been a speaker or a concert of some type. We've done a few items, but nothing like I think can be generated. One of the things that'll probably happen before the next academic year is the college will have their own channel to program, which will be originated from Mudd Library, which is where their studio is located. They've got a studio up there that and an equipment inventory that I'd kill for, but have not utilized it for that purpose. It's mostly been done for internal purposes. But I think once they have a channel to program of their own, I can see that increasing.
And would that be a channel available?
Yes, that'll be available to everybody in the community. And it'll also be a communication link from the college to the community to off-campus students. When they're not doing some type of program, a concert or a lecture or something like that, they could have a community bulletin board or a college bulletin board like we have the community bulletin board, and get the information out of the different activities going on at the campus.
Sounds great.
So it's only going to be beneficial for them to get that information out to the community.
Do they have anybody on staff that is cognizant about cable television?
Oh yes, yes. They have a couple people that pretty much know what's going on and how it all works. So
I wonder if someday they'll have a class in it or something.
That's a possibility. From what I understand, that they did have a communications major at one point in time, and that's where the studio was built and their production equipment inventory came from. But past administrations killed that program, and I know that there's kind of a push to get it revitalized and going.
I think that started, if I remember correctly, as a public speaking option for students, and then it went into a broader communication.
Right.
And I'm not just sure what all that.
Yeah,
covered.
I know there also is a big push to do independent film study, and I'm in the process of working with Bravo, which is one of our services. They will go in and provide some grant dollars and a program for that purpose in different colleges. So I'm anxious to get that started, because there is a push to get that going over at the college as well.
Let's go to another educational area, the public schools. Now, they have their own channel.
Right.
20, I believe.
Right.
Which they're not doing too much with at the moment.
No,
I gather.
this year. It seems to have died, unfortunately. A few years ago, we went in front of the school board and basically begged them to say we're going to give you a channel to program. You can get information out to the community, televise school events, televise your school board meetings, and get that information out. Out of that program, and we were able to convince them to do that. And out of that program, the first graduate out of that program was Mike Streeter, and a very short time after he graduated, we hired him full time in that capacity as a production technician and as well as a system technician. Through the years, there's been a number of them, and a video club was developed out of that program, out of the production class. And over the years, they've done a fair amount of stuff with the sports and the football games and the basketball games and the school board meetings. But unfortunately, it's kind of died. Matt, who we hired last December full-time to be our full-time production technician, also came out of that class. But since he's graduated, it's kind of fallen apart, and hopefully we can get that rekindled.
Well, their loss is your gain here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When they decided they didn't want to do the school board meetings any longer, I felt that it was important enough for us to pick up and do. It has a viewership just as City Council does,
Sure.
or the New Russia Township meetings, and there's an interest there. And so we began doing it and transferred it from Channel 20 to Channel 9.
But they could use that channel anytime.
Yes,
Something was
yes.
theirs.
In conversations with the acting superintendent, he has a commitment to rekindle that as well. So hopefully his successor or the existing school board or future school boards will support it as well.
very good.
Because it's a great tool for the community and for the school district.
And you did mention the city council, which you cover in all the city events, don't you, from time to time?
Yeah, we
as,
cover a large number of things, as well as different civic groups and organizations. We're in hot and heavy with OHIO. We're working on some programs with the Upper Bound program at the college. Just about every group and organization in town we've been involved with somewhere along the line.
Are you able to tie into the public library?
Oh yes, yes. When we have our annual membership meeting, it's done from the library and we do it live. We have the capability of doing live programming from all the city buildings, the schools, and the library as well. And we do quite a bit at the library as well.
Well, let's see. Let's talk about financing a little bit of this operation. Subscribers are the bulk of it? Are they the
Subscribers are 99.5%.
And then you have some advertisers.
Yeah, we have some advertisers that buy ads on the community channel or on the crawl on the weather channel. But that's about it.
How does our rate structure, would you say, compare with others
We're
around
comparable
us?
to everybody else around us. We have pretty much the same services they have. In fact, we have a number of services that they don't have or haven't had in the past. We were the only system in Lorain County for a long time that had Bravo and the Learning Channel. Recently, our neighbors in Elyria and Lorain have added those services, but we were the only ones for a long time that had those services. We have an advantage over like the Wellington system or the Grafton system or Lorain, because of the bandwidth that our system is capable of providing. We have not maxed it all out yet. Those systems are maxed out. They don't have the room to add any more services. So they do a lot of switching from year to year or contract to contract with the programmers. But it's not going to last long, because there's a lot of changes going on in the industry with new services and new technologies, and they can't stay that way forever, and neither can we. You know, we're looking into a lot of things coming down the road, and we're going to need a lot of input from our members and subscribers and people who aren't on what we want to do with the system in the future.
We're leading into something I want to get into here as we begin to get to the end of this program. Are there public services or other kinds of services that you are obligated to give when you have a cable license or franchise? Does the state or federal law say there are things you have to do? Or
Oh, certainly. We're governed by federal FCC regulations or anything that Congress will hand down as far as the cable industry is concerned. There's a lot of things that we have to maintain. System performance, we have to run tests semi-annually on our plant. We have to run tests every couple of years on our signal processing equipment at our tower site. Annual signal leakage tests. There's a lot of things that we have to maintain. The only difference between us and a Continental or a TCI or any other cable operation is basically the way we're governed. The day-to-day operations and the system specifications and things that are required of cable operators. We're just as involved in that as anybody else is.
You touched on this, but let me ask you a question that really has two parts. What do you see for the future of cable generally in the next few years?
Cable in general, I tell you, it's changing so fast. I mean, currently they're building systems that are capable of delivering, 400 or 500 channels, although they're not fully maxed out yet. There's not that many services out there that they can grab a hold of. A lot of the cable operators are looking into computer data delivery, internet access, wide area networks. They're also looking into getting into the phone business. A lot of the things that are going on in the industry today in New York or Chicago or LA, or your major metropolitan areas, at some point in time we may get into that. But you have to understand the size of the market that they're doing compared to the size of the market that we have. And a lot of the things that they are doing or plan on doing, we may never ever do here because the market's not big enough to support it.
Would that probably prevent competition from coming in here?
No, I think
telephone companies.
Well, we
have.
That's right. Well, Ameritech is really going in high speed in building cable systems, and especially in the Michigan and Ohio area. And they're going into other states, and to give head-to-head competition. There's also direct broadcast satellite, the Direct TV and Prime Star and all of that. So we do have competition. There's just not another cable system. People do have alternatives to our services. But they're going out and they're buying this equipment and they're paying some conglomerate, and the profits that they're making go into their pockets and not into the community. That's the one nice thing about our organization is nobody's getting rich off of this system. Every nickel that is generated goes into operating the system.
And paying off the debt.
And paying off the original debt that was borrowed to build it.
What's the time frame for paying that off?
Currently, we will be totally out of debt unless we do a major system upgrade or something like that. We'll be out of debt in December of 2000. So we basically have 3 years to go. Probably two of the happiest days of my life since I've been here was the day we finally got the system up and operating. It was for 3 months, 4 months. It was a real challenge. So they were behind schedule, and really the board didn't have anybody with any cable experience to keep an eye on the contractors that they had in here. They were totally reliant on the consultants, and the contractors were the same people. So that made it really difficult. So we really had to do some real tail kicking to get things in gear when I came on board. And that was probably the happiest. One of the happiest was the first day we hooked up our first customer. I knew we were on a go from there. And probably the second day was the day that we paid off the $500,000 we borrowed from the Lorain County Bank. We just so happened to have a board meeting that night, and I was just beaming because it was a milestone that we had reached.
Sure.
And we still have a ways to go, but I don't see any difficulties whatsoever. We're doing just fine. We need to really consider and be conservative. We're getting to the age where our system is getting a little older, needs a little bit more maintenance. Vehicles need to be replaced. They don't last forever, and we ask a lot of our trucks. So those things have to happen.
How many trucks have you got?
We have 3.
3 now.
Yeah, we have 3. And FCC specifications have dictated that the equipment, the signal processing equipment at our tower site, doesn't meet the new specifications. So we're in the process of changing that out over a period of time. And it takes time to do that, time and money. And when you don't have a parent company to draw that from, for large capital, everything has to be taken care of from within and from the revenue that is generated from the services that we provide. And so you just can't go out and spend a couple $100,000 on replacing this or that or whatever. So it's always a slow process, but we've made a lot of progress over the years, thanks to the staff and their diligence. Plain and simple.
We touched a little on this, but let me see if I can focus just a little bit on one futuristic question. If you or I are sitting here 10 years from now, in the year 2007, how much would be different here?
Well, we'd probably be videotaping this program or airing this program over a digital system. It would all be digital technology and not analog as TVs are today. It would be computer type data, okay, then converted into video form. I see that happening. We could probably talk to any one of our members out there on our computer terminal, and we'd have a lot of fun. That's for sure. Because these are all things that we're talking about now. These are all things that we're looking into now, and people will be able to choose this show over maybe 100 other ones. So they'll have a lot more to choose from. I see the technology going to where you might have a whole menu of services to choose from, and with that technology, be able to pick and choose what channel package you want. That's the way it's going. Video on demand. You can call up or type a code into a computer or call up on a telephone, and we'd have a switching system. You could order any movie you want. That's what happened to be part of the library, and automated systems would automatically just pull that tape out or that compact disc at the time and stick it in the machine, and you'll be able to see it.
I think TVs will be very different.
Well, TVs are going to make a major change. There's a change in the air with high definition, which will be the advent of digital technology, and digitally delivered services. The TVs in 5 years will not they'll look the same. There'll be a nice piece of furniture sitting on a stand or in a bookcase, but the operation of it will be totally different. It'll be teaching people how to use their equipment all over again, as we learn how to do
As
it.
you have to too. I know that in the past you've had shows like this one or something along that lines that was locally thought out by citizens. And some of those have come and gone, and this one is still chugging along, almost 3 years, I think now.
Right.
But it'll still be here in the year 2007. I don't know.
I have faith.
We'll have faith. All right. We'll see if anybody's still hanging in with us
Sure.
then. But market for more programs.
Oh,
If there's
definitely.
anybody out
Yeah.
there that would like to.
Definitely. If anybody has, we have a lot of things in the works, projects that we're working on with OHIO, the Baseball Softball Federation. We're working on a program with them. We're working with the city itself on a program with their repaving and recycling programs. So we have a lot of things in the works, but we're always game for something new. I've talked a lot about getting a kids forum. We get kids in here talking about the things that concern them, with the community, with the world as a whole. It's a good tool, and I think the community needs to know where their youth is coming from, and this is a good medium for that to happen.
I think we touched on that a little last May when we had a high school senior talk to us.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Exactly.
we had a lot of good comment out of
Well,
that.
we did a forum in cooperation with the city and with the school district on the recreation issue. They got a group of kids from each one of the schools and got them together to talk about what they feel they like to see in the recreation changes in the community. And we videotaped that and made that information. We aired that as well, and made that information available to the city and to the school system, so they can get an idea of what the kids are thinking. It's of course, I mean, out of that program came a lot of pie in the sky dreams that would be great. But I think the parents out there need to know what their kids are thinking and what appeals to them, and give them an idea of what their parents might be willing to pay for and not pay for. So it's a good forum. So if anybody has an idea for a program or topics that they would like to come in and talk about, all they have to do is stop in or call the office, and we'll talk to them. We'll see what we can do.
Sounds exciting. Now that you've got a program director.
Yeah, now that we have a program director, that's been an advantage. We have somebody that can take care of this stuff now, and since he's been here in December, we've been gung ho with programming. We're very, very busy with it, and have a lot of things coming up. So
that's wonderful.
But we, for the size of our operation and who we are. We do more local programming than anybody else around us, and they have full-time production staffs and don't do near what we do.
No.
So I'm proud of that. It's it's a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun doing them over the years, and we'll continue to do so.
And I know I have with this program, and I think others who've had programs tell me they've had fun with them too.
Sure.
They are fun and challenging but fun.
Sure. I'll give you an example with the annual tree lighting ceremony. Before we got involved in it and having Santa come down the street in our bucket truck, there might have been 20, 25 people out there during the ceremony. Now there's hundreds of people that come downtown for that evening to see the tree lighting ceremony and be part of that. So,
and many to wave at the camera.
Yeah, many to wave at the camera. Exactly. Exactly.
Well, we're just about at the end of this, believe it or not. Time goes fast when you're having fun. Do you have any final comments you'd like to share with us?
Only that my last 9.5 years here have been enjoyable ones. I just love it here. I have no concept of even going anywhere else. I like being in a position to where when the people that we serve come in that front door, a large majority of them, I know them by their first name. They know that they can come in and talk to me just about any time they need to or about any subject, and I enjoy that. And I don't want to go to a big operation or a big system to where our customers are nothing more than an account number, and I'm just an employee number. I like being part of a community and enjoyed being here and help develop this particular operation. We've become a big force in the community over the years, and we'll continue to grow with that. And I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Well, we're glad you're here, and we're glad that this system puts up with this program.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that they all put up with me.
And we always give our guests a mug, but I think you've seen these before.
Yeah,
I think you designed that, didn't you?
Yeah, I designed this.
I'm going to be careful holding this up because I've got some water in it. But there are two chairs here, in case you haven't seen it. And it says Conversations with Lothrop, and he had something to do with it. And I think you ordered, how many did you tell me?
I don't know, 50 or 60 or 70 of them.
So you had some
like
real
this.
Faith there.
Yeah, we had some real faith. I knew the show would have some longevity. But I'll take another, even though I've been drinking out of this one for a year.
Okay,
So.
You want another one? You got that one. He brought his own tonight, so we can't really give it. But we thank you so very, very much, and
thank you very much for having me on your show.
For all you're doing for this system and for the town.
Thank you.
Next month we will have another guest to interview on Conversations with Lothrop. We thank you so much for having been with us tonight, and we'll see you in April. This is Dick Lothrop saying thank you and good night.